Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock. Happy Friday to you guys. So guys, I hope you're having a great weekend or preparing for a great weekend, I must say. But listen, I want to talk to you all today about a very controversial topic. Again, there's not a one size fit all category. Just filter out what isn't for you and just disregard the video if there's nothing you can take from it, or even give back. Get in the comment section and maybe give some advice to other listeners and all that good stuff. Like I said, listen, we all are here on earth trying to figure this thing out called life. Like, let's join hands and help each other versus judging and all this other stuff. So, I wanted to talk to you all about boss chicks in dating or even in marriage. All right, listen. Okay, so we know traditionally, the men, are the leaders and the breadwinners and all this good stuff. And, I'm talking about, just back in the days, back traditionally, things that we were taught, right? And so many women, even probably like your great grandmas and grandmothers, really didn't really probably do a lot of the things that they really, really wanted to do during those times. Because, of course, their roles were to, stay at home with the children, cook and clean and all that stuff. So I often ask myself, did my grandmother really wanted to do more than just, be a stay-at-home mom and all that good stuff? And it's like now in our generation, like where women are able to really, be driven and goal-oriented and all that good stuff. But, it's so shifty. But here's the thing, and I'm honest enough to say this is something I struggled with immensely, if I'm going to be honest. I'm so better at it now, and I'm getting better every day in this because I want to get better. So anytime you want to get better, then you're more receptive to learning. Even when it doesn't feel good, it's some things that needs to be addressed. Not because it's right or wrong, it's because it's what you were taught and what you're used to, what you're accustomed to. So if you're a non-traditional woman, which most boss chicks are, then you may struggle in the area. Of course, not everyone, but you may struggle in the area of dating, relationships, or even marriages. Now, here's my thing. Like, listen, I love a boss chick, honey. Like, listen, go out, get your own. We were just raised that way, if I'm going to be honest. We were raised to always be strong and independent. And I also believe because so many women have been raised, in that single parent household, by a mother who maybe had to work 3 and 4 jobs. And because the fathers were not in the household, the one thing that the mother did was to, educate her girls on, like, listen, don't depend on the man because you see your daddy's not here, so they can walk away at any given time. So always, 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 have your own. Always be strong and don't depend on the man. Now, also keep in mind, sorry, I dropped my phone. Also keep in mind, again, these are, it's still no right or wrong. I mean, it is, but it's no right or wrong because they're just trying to prepare their daughters for things that they had to deal with. So if they had to deal with a man walking out on them, in the parent's mind, the first thing you're thinking is like, okay, I don't want to ever have my children experience what I experienced. So I know how it feels to, give a man all the leeway and then he left me for someone else. Like, I don't want my girls to ever go through that. So make sure you make sure you're independent. All right, cool. Now, the thing about it is, what I have learned, is that it's important to be strong. It's important to be independent. But it's even more important to know how to to know how to allow a man to be a man, right? Because sometimes when you're strong and you're independent, that means, you probably run businesses and, you might be a CEO. You just may be somebody who's very, business minded and all that stuff. So it's like you have that take charge mindset, right? But it's important to learn and to practice how do you turn that off before you get home, right? And not to say that you don't have a voice in your home, not saying that, but how do you go to work and run your business or whatever, and you have to constantly be in charge. You have to constantly be on top of people. You have to constantly be the one to make the major decisions and all that stuff. Like, that kind of becomes your personality after a while because you're doing it every day. It's part of your characteristic. But now you come home and you forget to turn that button off. And so now you come home and you're just in boss mode, wanting to boss everybody around. Like, that's not okay. And again, I'm telling you guys, it's something I had to learn. I was once that person. I thank God that I'm so much different now. But see, here's the thing too that men have to understand as well. If a woman does not trust you, it is hard for her to submit to you. And listen, submission is a whole nother topic that I'm not going to get into because that can go to the left or to the right. I'm not talking about being walked on, ladies. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying allowing to take. Well, let me just. I'm going to throw the word submission out here because I don't need any DMs right now or any emails about that right now. Okay, so it's well, I might have gotten one just that quick, but what I mean is, when I mean turn that button off when you get home, is to turn that leadership button off from work. And when you come home, allow your man to take the lead. Right. Now, what I was about to say was, if a woman does not trust you, right, fully, 100%, it will be hard for her to allow you to take the lead. Because where are you leading me? Where are you leading me if I don't trust you? Like, I need to feel safe with you, right? So you have men, who constantly feels as if a woman wants to take the lead, but does she trust you? Have you allowed her to feel secure? Because if she doesn't, she's not going to take your lead. It's too fickle. It's too shifty. So that's a whole nother thing. So that's why, again, I always say that it's important to wait on the person that God has designed specifically for you, your life partner, your partner in purpose. Because then that person will be able to point out your flaws, right? And vice versa. But because you trust this person and because this person was sent to you from God and that, you're designed to be together, these are issues you can work through. Not to say that it will be easy, but these are issues that you can work through, and it won't have to be forced. This person will allow you to be the strong woman that you are. Don't ever regret being a strong woman. That's a beautiful trait. Because there's times that your family is going to be weak. There's times your husband or your mate is going to be weak or have a weak moment. And there's nothing more beautiful than to be able to pick up and step up and be that strong woman when the world is on his shoulder and he have a weak moment or even a weak season. That's your time to really step up and shine. So don't think that if you have to take, not the backseat, that's not the word, but take the lesser role of leading, that means you're not a leader or you're not strong. No, it just means you have to know when and how to use it. And that doesn't come easy to someone who wasn't taught that. So you have to really take time to, connect spiritually and to do a lot of studying and self-mastery to truly understand, like, I think I am the one called to break generational curses, if that has been a generational norm for you. Where, for one, you're setting a tone for the next generation to, like, listen, don't just marry the first man who proposed to you. I'm sure you guys can hear my dog snoring. I'm sorry. She's like right here at the foot of my bed. Like, don't just take the first proposal for any. If I tell you guys how many times I had someone propose to me, like, listen, I could have been married at least 6 times. It's not about just wanting to get married because you can. No, you have to be strong enough to know that, okay, this person is not the person that God has designed for me. So I'm just not going to accept a proposal, or I'm just not going to accept a relationship and just say yes to you. I will be your woman just because you're interested in me. No, you have to know that what God has for you is for you. And Tippy, 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 Tippy. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to wake her up because she's snoring so hard, and I'm sure you guys can hear her snoring. So it's important to be confident enough to know that I'm not about to settle because X, Y, and Z, the world say I should be married and have children by a certain time. I'm not about to settle because my family members feels like they're ready for the next person to get married. Girl, listen. Wait on that person that God has designed for you. Point blank, period. That's what it's all about. If that is what God even have designed for you. But again, set that tone for the next generation, okay? If you came from that very, very strong boss chick family, and you weren't taught how to let a man be a man, set that tone. Set the tone like, okay, yes, I was taught this as well. However, I now know that it's important to be strong, but know when to turn it on and turn it off. Set that tone. Set that tone like, okay, no matter how strong I am, I don't emasculate my men. Set that tone. Now, of course, I'm sure many of you, because I hear it all the time, I've said it in the past myself, well, if he don't want me to emasculate him, he just need to man up and be a man. Listen, I promise you, chicks, I get it. Trust me when I tell you, I get it. I've said that a couple of times in the past too. But here's the thing. Why are you with him? Why did you accept someone who is not, quote unquote, man enough and who won't, quote unquote, man up? Why did you accept that? Why did you choose that? Okay, and let's be fair. Maybe you fall in love and you learn those traits later on. Okay, so why are you sticking with it? Because you're not going to change him. All right, you belittling him, chastising him, trying to force whatever you're forcing, that's not going to make him man up. Point blank, period. So you have free will to leave. You got free will to leave. Give yourself a peace of mind. Just leave. Leave. And so just sit back and wait. Again, be patient and wait on the person that God has for you. But in the meantime, do work on knowing that the person that God has for you will be a whole person. God's not going to send you a half person. Point blank, period. Okay. That's why it might be taking so long, because God he may be working on you, and then he may be working on the person who he has designed for you. Right. So it takes time to work on people, as you should know yourself if you're going through a transition process. So my point is, when God brings it together, it's going to be two whole individuals, not two half, two whole individuals. So trust and believe that if you haven't worked on yourself to understand that you got to know how to turn that thing on and off and sit down sometimes and stop being so, masculine at the wrong time or at certain times, he's not going to stay. He's not going to stay, point blank, period. And see, because you're used to that, because you're used to running over men, because the majority of men aren't, there's a lot of good men out here. There's a lot of whole men. There's a lot of men with, that discipline, that balance, that structure. There's some good men out here. I've met a couple. They weren't for me. They weren't designed for me. But there are men out here who are good men. Don't get it twisted. The problem is most times those are the men who women aren't really attracted to because they're, you know, looking for some other stuff or whatever. That's a whole nother video. I'm not gonna get into that right now. I'm actually a little bit tired. I'm gonna take a nap. But I'm not gonna get into all that right now. But take this time to work on yourself. Take your time to research, educate yourself, start changing some things, and it's not going to happen overnight. Start working on some things. You know, breaking generational curses, if you're the one called to do it, it's hard. Listen, because you're not setting the tone just for yourself. You're setting the tone for you as well as the future generations to come. So you're carrying all that weight. So it's heavy. But you have to do it for yourself as well as for the generation to come. So again, when God brings that person for you, and this is man or woman, but when God brings that person to you, in order to sustain it, you're going to have to know your proper place. And a lot of people get so offended by that when people say, know your place. No, it doesn't mean you sit down and you bake biscuits and no, it's not about that. It's about being that strong woman, being that independent woman, but being a team, allowing him to lead because you trust him, because you waited on God to send him, and because God sent the right person, you trust him fully. And now you guys work together as a team. But ultimately, he is the leader. And I know I'm getting a lot of backbite about that, but it's cool. You know, listen, truth don't hurt. And everything I'm saying to you, someone had to sit me down and help me. But also guys, men. I'm glad I even said what I just said, because men, another thing, you guys are so quick to want to, you know, jump on the bandwagon of women are just too strong, women are just too masculine, and women don't know when to shut up and all this quote unquote. I get it. But also, sometimes you can reach a woman more if you can truly sit down and have a transparent conversation with her versus of just constantly putting her down about it. Yes, it may be wrong. Yes, she may have learned a lot of things, you know, from her upbringing or her parents that she wasn't taught right. But do you know how special it is for a man to be patient with a woman and to guide her with love and light and bring things to her attention that maybe her father wasn't there to bring? Like, listen, that's a beautiful place to be. Not saying that it will not be frustrating, because I'm sure if you're trying to help her, she's going to feel attacked, so she's going to rise up against you, and now you're both crazy and arguing. So I get that too. But if you really love a woman, or if you really have interest in a woman, and that just doesn't have to be someone who you want to date or be with, that can be your sister, that can be whatever. Like, take time out and be gentle and try to be patient and to help her understand certain ways that she needs to improve, and how you can even help her to improve on those areas. Like, I dated guys who constantly was all that yapping in my ear. You don't know when to shut up. You don't know, that's your problem now. Da, 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 da. And I mean, they were right. And that's one thing about me. No one can ever hold anything against me, because I've always been able to admit my faults. Never in a relationship have I been the one to say it's you. Never. I'm the chick, like, listen, I'm flawed, you flawed, we both got issues, so don't put it all on me, because you got it too. So let's sit down and try to figure out how we can help each other. But you're not going to sit here and put everything on me. But my point is, I can admit my flaws. So when you can admit your flaws, people can't use it against you. And that's a good place to be. But anyway, so I've dated guys who was all like yapping and coming against you about, you know, cool. But then I dated someone who was patient, who was understanding, who tapped into the why. Why are you so strong? Why are you so this? Why are you so that? And then develop a relationship where slowly but surely I realized that I could trust him. So I could slowly but surely let my guards down. And let me tell you something, men. Many women, most, if not all, really don't want to be as strong as we are. We just have to be. We were taught that. Think of, I mean, my father, I know who my father is. My father was in my life. But think about a woman who didn't know who her father was. Her mother may have been a crackhead. So all of her life, 8, 9, 10 years old, she's in the house by herself, probably was molested, probably taking care of other siblings, having to probably get her mother undressed at night when her mother's geeked up and high. Like, take a woman like that, right? And of course, once you become a teenager, the responsibilities increases. So all she know is to be strong, in charge. So how do you unlearn that when that's all you have been taught? But do you think as an adult, she want to continue to carry that type of strength? Or is she carrying that strength because she has to? Because she could never trust anyone, including her own mother, who was a crackhead, respectfully. Now she meet you, who's cheating on her, who is not consistent, but you want her to trust you. You want her to allow you to lead. How can you lead me when all of my life I've led myself? So tap into the why. And if you love her, it will be worth it. Because when you get the result, listen, the results that you will get for being patient with the woman and to help her understand the why and to eventually develop that trust, listen, that lady will never ever go anywhere else. Like, another dude couldn't even get a conversation because she knows what she has. She feels safe with you. She trusts you. She's not about to lose that. Trust me when I tell you. Like, she might gamble and risk losing some foolishness, but she's not going to gamble and risk losing a good man. So sometimes we have to invest in people. And most of us feel like, listen, I'm not trying to raise nobody else. Like, nobody got time to be trying to raise nobody. That's not raising. That's not raising. But that's another story too. Another recording. But anyway, guys, you guys have a great weekend. I'm going to take a nap because I'm going to go and listen to some jazz tonight. I love jazz. So you guys have a great weekend. Comment and let me know what you guys think. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.